Good morning, Maria.
Good morning, Nick. How are you?
I'm very good. How are you? How you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
So thanks for being here and your contribution. Maria is a leadership expert, and today we're going to talk about emotional intelligence and leadership.
Not
Before to
thanks for
start,
inviting me.
do you want to give us an introduction about you personally, professionally, where you're based, where you were born?
Wow. In a short snippet, I'll try. I'm Irish Swiss. I was born in Switzerland, Geneva. I've lived in Geneva, New York, London, and now I live in Barcelona. I'm married, no children, one dog. And I have my career was a corporate career. I worked for Sotheby's, the auction house that sells art all over the world. And thanks to them, I got to live in all these countries and travel a lot. And I was leading global teams for 22 years with them. And 3.5 years ago, in the middle of the pandemic, it wasn't because the pandemic just happened before, but my husband and I decided to change our lives. And we decided to move to Spain, where we didn't speak the language, and start over. And so I've been since I've started my own business. I'm a career growth strategist, and I help people grow their careers.
We're gonna. Thanks for the brief. Yeah, there was a lot
Yeah, it's good.
uh, we just mentioned. I wanted to have this chat with you because you are supporting humans to become better leaders. Would you like to tell us more about what you do and how you do it?
I believe that you owe it to yourself to have a job you enjoy and a fulfilling career that gets you excited about getting up in the morning and going to work. So I coach and I mentor leaders and mid-level professionals to create a career that brings them, that they love, and that they don't have to sacrifice their personal life, their values, or their health to have.
I'm grasping from your words. Doing something you love, it
Yes.
implies know what you love. So
Yes.
self-knowing, understand yourself. So I'm kind of already stepping into emotional intelligence. How important is to know yourself psychologically, behaviorally, and emotionally?
I think it's the foundation, especially if you're a leader. So I work a lot with leaders, and I don't think you can lead other people if you can't lead yourself, and you can only lead yourself if you know yourself. So emotional intelligence for me is the foundation. Like, you need some soft skills as a leader: communication, emotional intelligence, adaptability, and yes, emotional intelligence for me is key to today being a good leader.
I was about to ask what you think about self-leadership, because you
Yes.
said something I really believe. Before to be a leader for other people, you must be able and capable to lead yourself.
Yes.
I did read, to be honest, I don't remember where, but we as individuals are the most difficult one to lead.
Or the most, sorry, I didn't hear what you
The
said.
most difficult one to lead. Like
Yes.
self-leadership, you mentioned how important it is.
Yes.
What skills, you just mentioned adaptability, what other skills, soft skills, do you think they are required for a good self-leadership?
I think the basic is self-awareness. And I know personally, when I was a leader, when I was a new leader, I didn't, those are not things I thought about at the time. I think now people talk about it much more, but in the days it was just get your job done. And you didn't really take the time to sit down and reflect. And self-awareness is developed through reflection and feedback from other people. So self-awareness, that you can develop through, you know, well, as I said, feedback, but also learning courses, or a mentor, get somebody to help you, a coach, and by practice, by making it a habit of sitting down, taking the time to reflect on things you've done or said, or behaviors, or what's going on in general, which I think in the modern world of, especially in corporate world, by my experience, is you rarely have the time to do, or you rarely take the time to do, because the time you make it. And it's not, I know that I never put myself first for my company. I would always put my company first. So taking the time to reflect on myself was like, something that was down on the pile of to-do lists, even if I actually did think about doing it.
I'm feeling, for a leader, if I'm following you, being introspective is a key.
Yes.
And as you said, generally we don't make time, especially in a corporate environment, to check, observe our own emotions and behaviors.
Yeah.
So, quick answer from 1 to 10, how important for a leader is to stop, take time to think, analyze and check and observe behaviors and feelings, emotions, triggers. Just throw a number, 1 to 10.
If you want to be a good leader, I would say 10. 10 being the most important, obviously. That's what I understood, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll step a little bit deeper into emotional intelligence, and I'm sure you know what emotional quotient is, and the question is, how important is for a leader to measure his or her emotional quotient score, and how important is to know the emotional quotient of the people you are working with, like analyze their soft skills, so to leverage and develop performance.
I think it is. It's definitely important, and it will make your life easier as a leader, to actually know which of your people are highly emotional intelligent, which are their strengths and weaknesses also, because it will help you improve communication and collaboration. It will help you reduce conflict in your teams, build trust and stronger relationships with your team, but among themselves as well. It helps develop problem-solving skills, and in general, it's just good for productivity and morale. So knowing all these things are important if you want to lead successfully.
To what degree do you think that the corporate itself can empower the leaders and the teams with this typology of information? Let's say, like, does the corporate itself plays a role?
Yes, because it's your environment that creates the behaviors. So if you create an environment where emotional intelligence is valued and is recognized as something important, and that from the top it's being promoted and encouraged, well, you're going to get it. So yes, the corporate environment, the corporate has a responsibility and a role in promoting that.
And I reiterate, you do a lot of leadership, mentoring, coaching, and training as well.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's important in a leadership training to integrate emotional intelligence skills, like empowering the leaders to understand their emotions and the team's emotions?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what we start with my clients. The first thing we talk about is about we do a self-assessments, and we dig deep into self-awareness, to understanding what's going on with them, what are the things that are working, not working, what are their blockers, their blind spots, especially for leaders, because lots of leaders that come to me are leaders that are transitioning either into a new role or a new company. And what I've seen over and over, and that's happened to me, is people get promoted because they're good technically. And it's not because you're good at your job that you're good at leading others or overseeing other people to do it. And they get promoted and don't get any training or upskilling or support. And that's when they fail. And so a lot of people I work with come to me and like, I just got this promotion. I want to make sure I set myself up right and I have the right skills. And so we dive deep into understanding what are the skills that might be missing. And often it's communication skills and self skills about time management. So managing self a lot. And if they don't get those right at the beginning, then it's really hard to catch up afterwards. And I've had people come to me a year after they got promoted and saying, oh, I'm failing in my job and I don't understand why. And when we start looking into it, it's like they've just continued doing what they were doing before in the previous job, and they haven't learned how to delegate, how to empower their teams, how to deal with conflict, have courageous conversations with them, and all these things make it really difficult for them to lead. So it is super important to understand what skills you might be missing, especially when you're growing in your role, and what skills you need to acquire, because all these skills you can learn. Nobody's I mean, there might be some natural born leaders, but most people acquire these skills through practice, through failures, and or people teaching them, coaching them, or mentoring them. So you can get those skills. You just need to realize that you need them and that you lack them.
I'm grateful for this, real life scenario, because it really provide a sense of which are the hard skills, as you said, the technical ones, and the soft skills, which are the interpersonal ones. So just by developing relationship skills or empathy, flexibility, then you mentioned delegate. I mean, the art of delegate is not just a material task, but it takes a lot of psychology and emotional regulation as well.
Absolutely.
I'm thinking, we started this point talking about emotional quotient and how important are self-assessment. Yes. As you know, I get a bit technical now. In some emotional quotient reports, there are two parts. One is the self-assessment, and the other part is the multi-rater assessment. So we do help the leader to have a perspective of himself or herself. And we select groups inside the company, or they might be friends and family as well, to have a holistic view of the leader, in order for him or her to realize how he or she is perceived from the outside. To what degree do you think is beneficial? Not just what the leader thinks, but what the leader transmits outside.
Well, perception's reality. Even though you might not agree with it, what other people think of you, it's their reality. And it's super valuable and really important to understand which it is, because you can't do anything about it if you don't understand it. And I've done it myself, a 360-degree review. I found it super valuable, and I went through it. It was interesting because I did this years ago in Brussels, and with a group of people. We were all like quite new leaders, and we all went through this, and some people came out in tears because they hadn't realized either how they came across the people they were managing or their peer or their boss, and they were shocked to hear the feedback. And then you get to this point where you hear this feedback and you can decide, oh, it's all crap, I'm not going to listen to that, and just continue in your own way. Or you can decide to do something about it, say, oh my God, I've been acting this way, or this is how people have, you know, have perceived me. What can I do about it? And you can actually, you know, start taking steps to change that perception. And that's how you grow, because you can't grow alone. For me, feedback is the basis of any growth, because we're very self-centered, and we have a very, I don't know how you say, our perception of ourselves is very, very narrow. And it's really hard to be self-aware alone. So doing these exercises, for me, everybody who's stepping into a leadership role should absolutely do this, because it's eye-opening, and that's what's going to help you really understand what your blind spots are, where you can grow, and what you can get better at and become a better leader.
Thank you, Maria. I believe we are already calling leaders to be self-aware.
Mm-hmm.
So emotional questionnaires, having mentors, coaches, guidance. Say we are calling now the corporates or the companies, how they are responsible to integrate this typology of awareness, let's call it awareness, for their leaders and teams. Like, how can we call them to invest on their human components?
There's research that backs, and studies that backs the fact that if you have leaders who have emotional intelligence, you're going to be more, your team is going to be more performant, your company is going to be more performant, and then obviously you're going to make more money. So it's the only way to speak to companies. It's what's in it for them financially, because that's what they're interested in, or, you know, what's the return on investment, what's the productivity that they're going to get out of it. And I think that leaders who understand their own emotions and behaviors, they can navigate challenges better, they can build stronger relationships, and they can inspire their teams. And that's what you want from a leader. So it's a no-brainer. Some companies, unfortunately, have very short-term vision. And that's where those are the kind of companies that don't invest in their leaders and don't invest in growing their business, and in the long run are not going to be successful. The companies who have a long-term vision and understand that investing in their leaders is going to help the whole business are going to go further, and they're going to make more money in there.
We are talking about timing, and you made me think a question that I receive often. Like, from the moment that I, as a company or corporate, I invest on my leaders, in how long I gonna see results? Like, how long does it take for the team to implement that new philosophy, culture?
Yeah, that's the reason why often companies don't invest. It's because it's a long-term vision. It's not a quick fix, and you can't just send your leaders to one-day training and think, box ticked, now they're fixed. It's an ongoing process. It's an ongoing growth process, and it takes time to build, but it's worth it in the long run. So I can't say it's going to take this much time, because it depends of each person, each leader, each company, how much they're going to invest, how much time they're going to invest in their people, how much resources they're going to put behind training and supporting these people so that they can grow. But it is worth it, and it will pay off. And I speak often to startups and, you know, young companies, and I tell them, you should start now when you're small. Make it part of your culture that learning and development and training is normal, is accepted, is part of the person's growth, and it will pay off when your company grows, because it's not when you're suddenly grown to become a big company and you think, oh my God, now we need to go in and train all these people that we hired like 5 years ago to be better leaders. No, do it from the beginning. And I think that's a mistake lots of companies do also. They wait till people are at a certain level in the company to start training them. you should train people straight away. If you think someone has a potential to become, to grow in your company, invest in them when they're young and they're learning. Don't let them get the bad habits and then try and fix them. Get them at the beginning and teach them, because they will bring this with them as they grow, and they will teach it to other people.
That's an amazing point. Yeah, very insightful, and of course I agree, and I too so very often the way to grow for investing in training.
Yeah.
Supposedly, if you invest in training, you can grow more sustainably as well. So as you said, it's a never-ending process, and if you start when you are a startup, probably you're going to build sustainability and a great leadership culture in the company.
And I'd go a step further. I personally think that you should be learning emotional intelligence in school. There's so many skills that we should be learning in school that would help us in later life that we don't. And I think I'm sorry. I think the school system needs to be completely rehauled and changed, and we should be focusing on teaching people those soft skills, and emotional intelligence definitely should be one of the basics that should part of the toolkit that's given to children so that they can go into life more successfully.
Maria, I cannot agree more. Once they ask me, what's your dream? And I said that emotional intelligence will become like history and math.
Yes.
Like in school.
Yes.
Because it's so important to build better humans, and by doing so, we are building a better society tomorrow.
Absolutely.
So definitely are skills for life.
Absolutely.
Maria, thank you. And yeah, going toward the end, is there a suggestion you would leave for leaders or companies?
A suggestion
you want to leave for leaders and companies?
Well, I think one thing, people don't invest in training and things like that because once it's expensive, but also because it seems like a mountain to climb. And it doesn't have to be a mountain. You just need to start small. You can start small and do little things. Start with little things that are going to then bring in bigger results. But it's really hard to do alone. So I think it's worth investing in, well, someone like you maybe, or in getting your people to learn these skills early on and to help them unlock their full potential. So you don't have to go and learn everything. Just focus on one thing that you feel like your business lacks right now. What is it that your business lacks, and what could make a real difference if we focused only on that? And then you can, one step at a time and build it. And so I would say to companies, first of all, think about it. It's important. It's something you need to be considering because it will help your company grow. And then just pick one thing that you want to see change in your company or in your culture, and focus on that and see the results you get from that.
Okay, very good one. Maria, thank you for your contribution. Yeah, I really enjoyed the chat.
Thank you. You're welcome. Me too. Thanks for having me.
It's been my pleasure, and grateful. I mean, I reiterate very insightful points, and yeah, we hope together, joining forces, that we're gonna bring awareness on these important skillful leaders.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Maria.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Goodbye.